Oh, okay. And just say don't think I'm drunk. There's mosquitoes around, so if you see me doing this, don't get weirded out. Okay, so we started off with the backhand. The very first thing we did is that when you do the backhand, there's 3 steps, and everything in your body does the same thing, or works together on all 3 steps. Different things, but all together. So your first step is everything's forward. Second step, everything rotates one way. Third step, everything rotates the other way. What you were doing was on your second step, most of your body was rotating this way, but your hand was forward, which meant part of your body was like rotating the opposite way. You were fighting yourself. What we want to have happen is on your second step, we want the arm to swing back this way. Wait, ignore what the disc just did. The arm's going to swing back this way. That's because everything is rotating one direction. Now, you very quickly got your hand from being up here, but the thing to work on moving forward that you hadn't quite nailed yet is that you were still kind of here. Let your arm go. Now, you're not pulling your arm behind you, but during your backswing, watch my arm. If I don't do anything with my arm on the backswing, like I just rotate, it's going to swing that direction. So, let your arm go, everything goes one direction. Everything else as far as the rotation was good. The key thing to remember, and you were actually doing a really good job of this, but I do want to reinforce it, is that if you're throwing a disc in this direction, everything's going to take place on this line. So your feet, 1, 2, 3, along the line. The disc, if I was invisible, should be on this line. 1, 2, and right here my arm was pointing down that line. Step 3, pull down the line. It's like a slingshot. You start at the point of release, you go back in a straight line, you pull it again in a straight line. The whole key to aiming, the entire key to aiming, is get to a point where this right here is pointing where you want to throw. So the vast majority of times you were doing that. So the times you weren't, if you were pointing over here, the disc went off to the left. But every time you pointed, have a buddy film me sometime, or I'll film you right now. When the disc goes where you point towards the target, it works. The nose on the disc was going up. The reason the nose was going up is because you were bent over you were upright, and then you would bend over, and then when you go to stand up, the disc nose gets pulled up. Every time the disc, when you throw it, when your nose is up, it means that's why. You weren't doing any of the other things that cause an air bounce or a nose up. So exaggerate this. Take your shoulders back, chest out, and just be above your hips. So the throw is here, not here. Now, if you watch videos of players, with certain angles or something, you might be bent over. But the majority of the throws on the curve are there. So, shoulders back, chest out, above your hips. That's really all you need to do on the backhand. I mean, mechanically, the backhand, a lot of stuff was really good, which is why when you did those couple things, everything was like, you saw where they were going. They were all going exactly where you're aiming. That's all you want to do. Sidearm. First thing you do on the sidearm is we tweak your grip. We want 2 fingers touching the rim of the disc. I don't care if it's here, here, or here, but you want 2 fingers. 2 fingers is stronger than 1. That's a 1-finger grip. This finger's not doing anything here. You want 2 fingers to support the rim of the disc. They don't have to both touch the rim, but to support it. Now, the steps on the sidearm are left, right, left. It's forward. It's just 1, 2, 3. The upper part of your body will rotate, but the lower half of the body is just trying to force it forward and still stay forward, which brings you back forward again. So the 2 things you don't want to do are, you don't want to keep the elbow close to the body on the sidearm. I won't go into why, but just don't ever do that. It's the biggest misconception in the sport is keeping the elbow close. The throw is going to start here, it's going to end there. Forget this. Second thing is you don't want to be 90 degrees from your target. Kind of did that out of order. So before the run-up, you're not throwing from here. Sidearm is a forward-facing throw. So when you throw the sidearm, think about throwing a ball, not throwing a frisbee. And don't think about throwing an ultimate frisbee. Think about throwing a ball. So the disc starts here, top of the disc facing away from you. Doesn't have to be completely contorted, but it's never this, because then you have to flip the disc mid-throw. Start with the disc away from you, and step 1, disc is forward. Step 2, let it swing back. Your arms should effectively be straight like a pendulum for the first 2 steps. 1, 2. The only reason to keep it straight is you want to get to this place right here. So technically you can pull it straight, but if you pull it straight, your arm never wants to go to that place. So that's why I believe a pendulum. 1, 2, get to that spot right here. Once you're back here, the third step is you're just throwing a ball, mostly. So the third step, don't think about any of the things you ever learned about throwing a Frisbee. It's 1, 2, then you're just gonna throw the thing. Just like just like throwing a ball. Now, there's 2 differences between throwing a ball. It's mostly throwing a ball, but 2 differences. The first one is, with a ball, you don't worry about spin. So you don't have to worry about this, but with a disc, the sidearm needs spin. A lot of spin. So first thing you do is you cock your wrist back. So the wrist is here, and you're gonna do this as part of the throw. So when you swing back, let your wrist cock back. You're always here, never here. Throwing from here. That's first. The second thing is that the follow through on the sidearm is never this. Okay, the follow through on the sidearm is this. Think about snapping a towel, right? Do this, nothing happens. Do this, towel speeds up, snaps at the end. The biggest mistake that players make when learning how to not follow through is you want to go here, which is like an ultimate throw. For a different reason, that's right, an ultimate, but don't throw from here. So just make sure you're always still out in front of you, but snap a towel out in front of you. Now, we talked about 2 different backswings. You can swing down like this, or if you want to experiment later, which is fine, take the top of the disc, flip it towards you, and then go 1, 2, 3. Now the third part of that is exactly the same. You're still coming from here. The big difference is that you're coming over the top. The mistake that you made, everyone makes, is if you're coming over the top, I call it a windmill throw. If you come over the top, just make sure you're not doing this. So when it's from here, you still want to extend all the way back. The first throw felt more natural. I thought it was better, but I'm not wired to either of those. So big thing is top of the disc, don't throw from here, still reach back. That's your sidearm. Last thing is the gauge on the sidearm is always how the disc flies. If it flies with wobble, not enough spin, no wobble has enough spin. If it doesn't have enough spin, the 2 reasons that's happening is because you are not cocking your wrist, using your wrist, and when you follow through, that also doesn't put as much spin on the disc. So that's it, that's your gauge. If it doesn't wobble, you're doing it right. Putting, final thing. We're just gonna start from scratch. Feet shoulder width apart, step straight back. Important that you don't step back with your feet in a line towards the target, because if you do, you're putting from right here. If you putt from right here, you're kind of jabbing at it. You kind of have to throw it to get it there. You want to be able to swing. Arm, again, shoulders to hinge. Arm is a pendulum. You want to be able to putt from here, as much motion as possible. You also want to putt from your center. If your feet are in line, your center again is here. Feet shoulder width apart, your center is here between your legs. So, shoulder width apart. Next thing you want to do is you don't want to use your wrist. The margin for error on this little tiny hinge right here, the timing's got to be so precise, it's just a harder throw. Take the wrist out of the equation, or the elbow too, as much as possible, and instead do this. Without elbow or wrist, putting from your center, you're always going to be effectively on the right line, because there's nothing on the horizontal plane, right? You're on the right line. Next thing you want to do is, since you're putting from, since you're not using, that's how you get the line right, you're not using that hinge. The spin comes from the hand coming to an abrupt stop, the disc leaving your hand and pivoting off this part of your finger. So the grip, which we experiment with different grips, I'm pretty much okay with most everything. Not really a wrong grip in putting, but if you put the edge of the disc between the end of your finger and the first knuckle, it has a place to pivot off. So the spin comes from your hand coming to an abrupt stop, the disc leaving your hand, it has no choice but to pivot off that spot, so you don't spin the disc, even though the disc will spin. When you get to a point when you can't get the disc to the basket without using your wrist, then you have to use your wrist. So at some point, everybody has to use their wrist, but that's only because you're so far away. You can reach it without wrist, don't use your wrist. So no wrist, putting from the center, that's how you get your line. The way you get your height and gauging the distance is by putting flat. And the way you putt flat is by what you don't do. You don't putt from here. And again, by the way, since you're lining up your putt like this, and you're using this as a hinge, it's natural to do this. So you're going against what's natural, so you're fighting that. So instead, start the disc here, your wrist is here. Now, when your wrist keeps that motion, you're putting from here, and that's it. So you're here, and you're putting this. You're putting flat. If the nose goes down, 100% of the time, it's because you were here. So you don't have to wonder why. If the nose was down, you did this. Easy fix. Just tweak it. What? Hey. So that's how you're gonna get the nose flat. It's up here. The last thing is everything on the putt goes one direction backwards, one direction forward. Everything's in a line. It may make so much sense when you think about it. Everything back, everything forward. Always when you putt, leave your hand out in front of you. It's like the most underrated trick to putting. If you putt and you put your hand away and you miss, you have no idea why. If you leave your hand out and you miss, just ask yourself, was my hand pointing where I missed? If it was, the problem was I lined up wrong. If the hand was at the target and you missed, and it went, let's say, right or left, I had to have done this. If it goes low, I had to have released early. Like, you'll know why you missed if your hand is in the right spot. But if you don't release early, you don't use your wrist, and your hand's in the right spot, don't lose it.